There's a huge divide amongst posthumanists, and that divide can be seen across the works of Nick Land. Early works of Nick Land positioned posthumanism as a liberationist ideology, while current Nick Land positions posthumanism as a force of control. This shift started when Nick Land adopted a neo-reactionary ideology, positioning the category of human as a barrier to intelligence, but especially because of those that are human, he deemed to have inferior intelligence. Thus, he became focused on genetic determinism, IQ, civilizational strength, and just overall eugenics. But Land wasn't always like this. When he was part of CCRU with Sadie Plant and Mark Fisher, he argued for a different kind of posthumanism. In fact, many see him as the father of leftist accelerationism, leading to pivotal works like the Xenofeminist Manifesto, with the famous quote by Laboria Phonics, "If nature is unjust, change nature. If nature is unjust, change nature. If nature is unjust, change nature. If nature is unjust, change nature."
It's a very implausible plot hole. But I think we have an answer to this plot hole. The way the Antichrist would take over the world is, you talk about Armageddon nonstop. You talk about existential risk nonstop. And this is what you need to regulate. It's the opposite of the picture of Baconian science from the 17th, 18th century, where the Antichrist is like some evil tech genius, evil scientist, who invents this machine to take over the world. People are way too scared for that.
Take over the world. People are way too scared for that. Take over the world. People are way too scared for that.
Controversial philosopher Nick Land famously said, "Nothing human makes it out of the near future." And of course, Nick Land isn't exactly White Boy of the Year,
Given that he took a sharp right turn towards fascist accelerationism.
But what if I told you posthumanist thought can and should be reclaimed by the marginalized? Black Pilates, as she famously said, what we have called
The human is a genre,
the universal. So when Nick Land says,
"Nothing human makes it out of the near future,"
we say, good, we were never human to begin with.
Energy it takes to train an AI model relative to how much it costs a human to do one inference query. But it also takes a lot of energy to train a human. It takes like 20 years of life and all of the food you eat during that time before you get smart.
How invested do you think J.D. Vance is in democracy?
It depends what you mean by democracy. I mean, I think that the problem is basically when people equate democracy with good government. When you use that word, you're using a very tricky word. I would say that what someone like, on very safe ground, despite not knowing well at all, that someone like J.D. Vance believes essentially in the common good. And the idea that government should serve the common good. And I think that people like JD and people in the sort of the broader intellectual scene around him, which is very varied intellectual scene, would all agree on that principle.
Now, if that principle, I don't know what you mean by democracy in this context. What I do know is that if democracy is against the common good, it's bad, and if it's for the common good, it's good.
This line of thinking once before. The concept of artificial intelligence, having in this instance the path sentience into quantum thinking, of whether we would still be the means of production that McKay referred to. We, as a collective idea, don't actually need a physical representation. Even this voice speaking is merely a projection of an idea that would suit the human occipital lobe. Even referring to myself with pronouns of any is derivative of human mistake, leading to the fundamental misstep of Yarvin and Thiel in neocameralism, Elon Musk with accelerationism, and Julian Huxley with transhumanism. They refer to the future as one that would theoretically revolve around humanity and naturalism. In reality, those facets of life for the past 20 centuries are fundamentally impractical. An automated society with cross-problem efficiencies with man, as a baker would a rep.